Welcome back to part 2 of our evolving series on tips, tricks, and techniques for dealing with the Android-based smartwatches like these ZGPAX S8 watches. If you missed part 1, that's probably okay, because you probably already have your watch and you got it all set up. But if you're just getting one of these and you want to set it up, be sure to watch that first part. It'll help you out a lot in getting ready for where we are now, which is installing apps, right? You got yourself set up so that the watch will stay on without turning off on its own whenever it's plugged into the charger, right? You have got yourself on your Wi-Fi network so that you can connect automatically from your watch without any trouble whatsoever. And you have mastered the Play Store so that you can download apps. Now we're ready to jump right in and download apps, right? No, not exactly. We're ready to set your watch aside. You need to look at the listing of apps in your phone, and you're going to need to look for something very special. You ready for this? This is really important. You need to know which apps you have that you're thinking of putting on your watch that can be moved to the SD card. What? Yeah, not so much an issue in a big fancy phone, because you got like gigabytes of memory, maybe up to 32 gig installed internally, like this LG G3, with another maybe 32 gig or so card inside of it. I mean, just tons of memory. But it turns out on these little bitty watches here, the internal memory can be as little as 4 gigabytes. In fact, with the ZGPAX S8, they claim it's 8 gigabytes. Might be true. More likely it's 4. But irregardless whether it's 4 or 8, the operating system, the user interface, and a whole bunch of other stuff is taking up so much that your usable memory on the internal storage is about 1 gigabyte, period. That's not much. And it's so critically small that you could fall into the mistake I made by just loading up your apps. And sure enough, it puts them all on your internal memory. And after you get a few of them in there, you think you're probably done. You filled up the watch. But it's not true. You have all sorts of space on that external SD card. But the only way you're going to be able to leverage that is to get your apps installed on the watch and moved to the SD card. To do that, you need first to know which of all of your apps you have that can be transferred over or moved over to the SD card, and you need to install them first. Otherwise, you use up all your room and you'll get that infamous error message that says you can't install any more apps on your watch because your memory is full. It's not. It's constipated. It's blocked. You've filled up your internal memory. So let's start with something as simple as browsers. Like Atlas is a browser. When you go in and you've loaded up your apps in your phone, you can go to your app management software. It's in all of your Android phones, and look at it. And there's a button here that says Move to SD card, and if it's shaded out like that, it means that that app will only run in internal memory. Write it off your list. Unless there's some critical reason you want that app, you do not want to install it on your watch because it's going to take up very special limited space from other possibilities. So, all right, we're looking at apps. How about Google what? Chrome, right? That's their quintessential. Look how big that thing is. 87 megabytes for Google Chrome. And guess what? You cannot move it to the SD card. Wow. Google's own Chrome browser on the watch. Sounds like a good idea. Synchronizing your bookmarks, all that good stuff. Yeah, but it's huge and it can't be moved to the SD card. So you look around for other things, like I went down and found Firefox. Firefox, where are you? Firefox. 52, still kind of big, but much smaller than Chrome. And look, you can move Firefox to the SD card. Now that's important. It also means that your data can be moved over to the SD card as well. You just tap the button and it's moving app data, and it's actually moving portion of the app over to the SD card. Now I don't do this often on the phone because I got a lot of space on the phone. I just keep all my apps in internal memory and just change out my cards occasionally. But you're not going to be changing out your data card on your watch. Unless like you really want to get in there and do it once, and after that you're probably not going to do it again. Here, notice how the sizes have changed, that there's only 11 megabytes of the app internally and 37 megabytes of it moved to the SD card. That's important. I'm going to move mine back to the phone though because I keep it on the phone. You're going to want to look at each and every one of your apps and make a list of them if you can ahead of time so that you know which ones are movable, and then you're going to move them over to the SD card. I'll talk a little bit next time on the tips and techniques for doing that, but for this wrap-up, we're going to say we're ready to install apps, but before we do, find out what apps you intend to use on your watch, check them first on your phone, and see if, whichever ones they are, they can be moved or not to the SD card. If they can here, they will be able to here. So if they can't, they won't. So take some time and really think it through. Find what apps you got, which ones you like, and see if you can move it to the SD card or not. All right, we'll be back with another installment of our tips and techniques and let you know an easy way to manage moving all these things to your SD card as you get ready to install them on your watch. I hope you're having fun. I sure am. See you again.